Your alarm blares loudly into your ear at 6:30 a.m., waking you up from your dreams. You get ready, make yourself some coffee to really wake up, and commute a half hour to work, maybe listening to some podcast on the radio or something, just like every other day. You get to work and sit down, completing your tasks and probably answering to a pesky boss or manager. You came 5 minutes late, and you really need to represent the company better than that. At 12, you go to your half-hour lunch break and come back to work, answering a shit ton of emails and probably typing up some reports about something you don't really know or care about. Your jeans are also uncomfortable. They're starting to feel a little tight. Your coworker friends say that you should exercise, but you wonder what difference it would make sitting down in a desk from 8 in the morning to 6 in the evening. The hours fly by and you don't really think about much anymore except getting stuff done. You leave at 6 and it's dark outside by then. You drive another half hour back to your house and the next 2 hours are yours. If you have a family, this will be the time you spend with them. If you don't, maybe you can watch a movie or something. You wish you had a little more time overall, just to spend with your wife or kids who don't really talk much. Maybe you had a hobby you wanted to work on, like guitar or painting or reading. More than likely though, you don't have the next 2 hours. You, like 93% of working Americans, have a side hustle to work on, just for some extra cash to keep yourselves afloat. You're doing this for them, or maybe you're doing this for yourself too, for some extra retirement money. You're probably 40 years away from it, but at least when you're 65, you can have some peace and quiet and pick up some hobbies. This is not the life of an average person anymore. This is the life of a successful person. 8 hours a day minimum, 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 11 months a year. Doing the math, you spend 1/3 of your life working, another third sleeping. What about family? By the time you're 18, you'll have already spent 90% of the time you will ever spend with your parents. You made these sacrifices for a reason, though. It's all for those last 10 years of your life where you'll finally get to not work. Where finally you are free, unburdened, alive. By then, though, both your parents are probably dead, and your body has wasted away to the point where you can barely run or do anything you used to be able to do before. You might be depressed, like a third of people who are retired. Your kids have moved out and had their own kids, planning to repeat the cycle. That's the whole point. This isn't really shocking, at least not to the average person. It is something we've all come to accept. There's a reason that starting at 4, we begin to spend Monday to Friday at school, usually from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. We're excused by bells, given breaks to have lunch and play, and then we return to our desks, sitting down for hours and copying down instructions, completing tasks over and over. Very little time is spent prioritizing skills like creativity, innovation, or different thinking in general. What's awarded is turning in assignments exactly as instructions are given, and retaining information just long enough to pass an exam. This is what it means to be smart, and the smart ones will succeed. But is this really the case? In most jobs, these skills will be rewarded. You follow orders from your boss instead of a teacher and fill out reports instead of essays. But the workplace isn't the real world, at least not all of it. The top earners nearly everywhere are entrepreneurs, people with a business of some kind where they sell products to the consumer and win back a profit. To be able to create something, to look at the world and what it's missing and invent a solution requires an individual to be creative and unique. No one starts their business completing tasks given by a boss above them. I don't think schools are trying to destroy creativity. I don't think that there's a matrix meant to purposefully trap us either. But the reality remains that schools prepare you for your most likely future, not the best future, and not for a future that will truly reward your time. I'm not mentioning all of this to try and scare anyone or make anyone depressed or anything. I myself don't really like to think about things like this. But I realize that a lot of our free time we spend distracting ourselves from this, trying to relieve ourselves of this reality through scrolling through social media, watching shows on TV, listening to a podcast on your half-hour drive to work. Consuming takes up more and more of our time. For Americans, an average 4 hours a day is spent on phones, but it isn't the way out. Usually, these distractions come at a cost. Whether it be through a subscription to a streaming network or through taking up time that you could spend bettering your financial situation. None of these things will help you escape this life in any way. All they'll do is temporarily hold your attention before you return back to your reality. More and more people are realizing this, I think, seeing how much self-improvement content there seems to be everywhere nowadays. The self-help industry has grown to be worth over $13.4 billion, and the algorithm seems to be pushing more and more messages on how to escape the rat race. I think this growing awareness also explains the rising popularity of e-commerce. For example, drop shipping, a popular mode of e-commerce where you'd basically be shipping people other products rather than your own, is expected to grow by 23% in the next 7 years. And affiliate marketing, another mode of e-commerce, is expected to grow by 10%. With more awareness about their other options, people can develop the skills they need to truly succeed and achieve financial freedom. Skills we aren't taught in school, like financial literacy and creativity. The person who manages to achieve this would live a life completely different from the norm. They'd have time to explore the world around them, wake up when they've fully rested rather than with an alarm, and they'd have time to spend with their families. Our time here on Earth is limited, and every passing moment we endure, seated at our desk at work, filling out the pockets of a CEO at the top of the pyramid, is a moment we can never have back. A moment we could have spent discovering ourselves or being with family. Most people will simply spend week after week waiting for the 48 hours at the end where they can catch a break, or for the 2-week Christmas vacation 7 months away, wishing for their lives to just go by faster. I just want everyone to know that if this sounds like your reality and it's something you want to change, I seriously hope you find a way out and live a life you won't regret. We're only given one, after all. If you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for listening and offering me your time. This is my first YouTube video ever, so I know this might be all over the place, but I wanted to summarize what I'm trying to tell you, the listener, so far. I'm simply trying to give my opinion that the societal norm of spending a considerable part of your life working is flawed and prevents individuals from being truly happy. The education system doesn't adequately prepare individuals for fulfilling future either. Lots of people try to ignore or distract themselves from their unhappy lives through social media, but this will ultimately keep you trapped in your situation. I believe there's also a growing awareness of the toxic reality of these workplaces, which is why a lot of people are currently trying to pursue financial freedom through unconventional methods. Ultimately, I encourage all of you who are dissatisfied with your reality to work and seek change through these ways and hopefully break the cycle that led us here.